Hey guys, J77 doing a very important vlog, a news update that's happening in my hometown. And even though this is happening in my state, this law, if passed, can have a very rippling effect towards other states. So don't think for 1 minute that this law may not apply to other states, especially if they feel they can get away with it. It involves the internet. It involves how people post comments on YouTube, Dailymotion, any video sharing site, any blog sites, and if passed, it could have a very dangerous rippling effect towards how this is going to be conducted. There is a piece of legislation that is going around New York that's being talked to as we speak, that requires websites, including social networks and online newspapers, to remove all anonymous comments that are brought to the attention of administrators. An anonymous comment remains, and this is very important. This is something that is very something that I want to bring up very carefully. The anonymous comment could remain if the author agrees to attach the following: his or her name, real name, not a username, an IP, or IP and address. I'm talking about home address, and right there is where the problem is going to begin. Right there is where you're going to have where a lot of people is going to be pretty much up in arms about, because this legislation is way too much and it violates a lot of constitutional situations, especially freedom of speech and the rights to privacy, for that matter. A UCLA law professor already spoken out against it, is saying it's clearly unconstitutional. He also mentioned that the Supreme Court had held for 50 years that the anonymous speech is protected, and pointing to the 1960 case, Talley versus California, that this kind of breach of anonymous demands is unconstitutional. He also said he will hope to hear from legislation, primarily at least one of them should be able to speak to the constitutional objection to the statute. The sponsors of this the state senator version, Republican Thomas O'Mara, told DC that he had not intentionally considered that the legislation might ban First Amendment, which he should have, because that's exactly what it's doing. Protection of free speech, pretty much. Today it is the first day of these issues have been raised. Murray said, "I have gotten many comments from any of my colleagues in the Senate would said that this wasn't a good idea. You should listen to them, because it's not." I'm going to keep going down. I clearly didn't introduce the legislation with the thought that it would violate of the First Amendment. We certainly looking forward for any and all input. The legislation enforcement memorandum, not currently specific in either the Assembly or the Senate version posted online, would likely be a fine. Moran said. The bill is a reaction, so they claim. This is something they're using, and I'm simply not buying. And I'll explain later. It's a reaction of cyberbullying. Now, cyberbullying has become in attention in the last few years, especially since the implementation of social networking and video sharing, of how people troll people, how they say bad names, make fun of them, basically threaten saying they're stupid and should take their stuff online. Just typical trolling you find. And as a result, with the way the media has been talking about it, the way how it had a tragic effect on certain people, they're using cyberbullying as an excuse to deal with the problem by introducing legislation that, in my honest opinion, will create more problems. But I'll get to that again in a minute. Morales is only sponsors of the Senate version, he told the DC, but the 150 members of Assembly's version has 28 sponsors and co-sponsors, almost all Republicans. So I don't hear too much about the Democrats, which pretty much tell me they are dead set against this. Um, that victim of a miscellaneous online posting can currently go to court and unmask anonymous authors and simply ask website to remove comments. If you say something anonymous and it is um, deemed libelous, you could go to court to order to identify you. He said, "Why would you do that?" Which just doesn't make any sense. The Republican Assembly, Jim Cornyn praised the legislation, writing that it would eliminate mean-spirited and baseless political attacks that adds nothing to the real debate, which is totally not true. And pretty much reading between the lines, you pretty much know where they're going with that. Let's got one more piece here. The legislation would demand that those who spread rumors, conjecture, and outright lies online be willing to come forward and defend their comments they post. The Republican Assembly Polly Tally added, "We are a society we never expected anything less than potential when potentially harmful words are put into print." Okay. I have the article. I just read the whole thing. You guys can check it out when I leave the link. There are other similar articles out there. I have confirmed that. That and the fact that New York News have indeed talked about this. So this is actually happening. This is their excuse they are putting out there. I'll leave the link below so you can check it out yourself. But this is my feeling towards this. There is no way in hell this is going to get passed. If it gets passed, it's going to be a lawsuit waiting to happen. The Civil Liberty Union is going to have a field day with this. And the reason why I'm bringing this up to the forefront is because of the following reasons. One, you can't stop people from posting comments online. If it's not slandering, then it's basically opinion. You're going to tell me you're going to try and shut down someone based on an opinion. You know how many times I get trolled every time on my site? It's nothing. You know what? I'm going to comment back and ask them what's their beef. Ask them what they are talking about, or just simply ignore them. Either way, I'm not gonna censor them. There's no point of it, because that's their opinion. They're welcome to their opinion, and that's it. And even with that being said, this is more political. This is more someone who has who has their opinion about a senator, and the senator may not like that opinion, so he wants to try and shut them down. It's censorship. That's all it is. It's nothing but pure censorship. And two, this idea that cyberbullying is the reason, I'm not buying that either, because all he's going to do is do more harm than good. One, look at what they're asking you to do. They're asking you to reveal your real name, which is never a good idea when it comes to these kind of sites. Number two, you're asking the person to reveal their home address and their IP. You know how dangerous that is? You think I want people to know where I live, what I do for a living? That's no. And that's the big issue about this, and that's the big issue. Third, it's all it's doing is it's more for the senators and for the people in high office to protect themselves than anything else. This has nothing to do with cyberbullying. It's nothing to do with protecting the citizens. You can't stop people from voicing idiotic comments on these sites. And to be honest with you, most sites do regulate and do monitor what's been said on sites. And if there are mean-spirited and bullying, guess what they do? They shut them down and ban them from the site. It is not like they're not doing that. So the idea that they're not on top of things like that is just simply ridiculous. Because I can tell you, from the sites I've been going to, they're really on top. They're really on top of it. I think the only one that's more looser when it comes to that kind of stuff is pretty much YouTube, and even them, they starting to tighten down on that as well. So to me, it's a bunch of nonsense. It's another way to control something they really truly do not understand, and this is going to hurt a lot of people. It's going to hurt the administrators who run their own sites. It's going to hurt the people who it's going to scare people from posting there, or even worse, just even going there in general, and that's not good. You can't censor someone's opinion. That's their right to voice their opinion. That's idiotic, and that's crazy, and that's even racist that they all have the right to their opinion. I can choose to respond to it, just like sometimes I do, or choose to ignore it. But I'm not going to sit there and censor them. I have the power to block them, but I'm not going to do that because I do believe freedom of speech and expression. And what better way to express yourself than something that you guys read on the article, or what I do in a video, and you express your own views and opinion. I value that, and I'm against any kind of legislation who tries to smother that. As far as cyberbullying, yeah, it's a big issue, and I don't applaud it. I think it's disgusting, and I think it's and I think that there are lots of other ways to deal with it. But to be honest with you, cyberbullying, if I know somebody is doing on my channel, I got the tool to block them, because obviously they're just looking to pick a fight, and I'm just ignoring them, and that's the best way you can do. Personally, I don't think children should be on YouTube and other networking sites, but they are there. But they also have to learn to ignore some of the idiotic stuff that happens. And if it is some situation, make sure you keep that PIN number, call the administrator up, and so they can deal with it themselves. But having this legislation is basically more sensitive. If I were to say something about a fellow politician, which I do sometimes, and they don't like it, all they can definitely say is, you got no proof, you're slandering, and I'm out, and they want my real name, they want me to go to court, and for what? It's all fear-mongering. That's all it is. They're trying to create fear, and that's the big problem here. I don't think this is going to be passed, but with the way they're acting right now, I wouldn't be shocked if it get passed. But as far as the web concerned, this is almost unenforceable. First of all, how are you going to tell these administrators they need to ask for someone's address? They'll lose customers they'll lose subscribers, then gain. So that's going to hurt them. And thirdly, and this is also important, because if this do get passed, don't be shocked that every state tries to follow through, because when one state does something that they feel is a good idea, they'll go right along with it. So New York needs to understand that not all websites live in New York anyway, so this is a pointless thing that they're trying to throw out there. But I think that honestly, I think people need to take a close attention to it, especially for those in New York, to fight against this, because this can have very dire consequences. I can see lawsuits down the road just for having this piece of legislation alone, and they can't have legislation this is a pointless legislation. Now, other things are important in New York that should be taken care of, and they worry about this. It's utterly ridiculous, and those who put this law into play obviously has no clue of how the web works, have no clue how YouTube works, have no clue how a lot of these blogging sites work. Keep in mind, most people they blog for their opinions. It may not be agreeable, but you know what? If you don't agree with a person, just say you don't agree with a person, or just turn them off. It's not that hard to do. But again, this is something that they're trying to make an excuse, that they're trying to fight inaccuracies, which is not. It's just basically their way of trying to protect themselves from something that they may touch them the wrong way. But who knows how this is going to start. Again, I don't think it's going to go any further. I think this is their way of trying to throw it out there, see what they says. I'll be stunned I'll be somewhat stunned if this goes any further. I'll be more stunned if Cuomo signs it. If Cuomo signs it, then it tells me where he is in terms of freedom of speech, and I'll be very, very, very disappointed in him if he does. But in other words, other than that, I really honestly doubt this is going to get passed. This is not a good sign if it does, and lawsuits going to come from it. As for the trickle-down effect, yeah, I do believe if this thing does get passed, and I don't think it will, do not think it's not going to affect the other states, because other states do follow the other, especially if they think it's a good idea. But I'm repeating myself. I'm going to end it here. So I'll leave the link. You guys can comment, give me your opinion. But until then, this is J77 saying you guys take care. You have a nice day.